All right, today we're going to make a little quick dinner with just some veggies and chicken and, just a few spices. It's going to be super simple. It's something when you've been working all day, you want to just come home, have something maybe on the healthier side and maybe not a whole lot of mess. It's one pan meal. So the first thing we're going to do is put a little olive oil in our pan, and then we're going to throw in just about a teaspoon of butter like this. We'll let that warm up. And while that's warming up, I'm gonna take the last strip out of the chicken. I think I've showed you this before, but whenever you have chicken tenders, they have a little white strip in them, and they're super hard and chewy, and there's no way to cook them out of it. It's just a weird thing. So you can kind of see it. I'll show it to you right here. It's this little tab right there, and you don't want that in your chicken. It's not fat, it's something else. So the way you do it is you put your fork over that little tab, and you take a paper towel because it's too slick to hold on to because it's raw chicken, and then you just pull it out. I'm done every one of these on the first try. I'm going to save one for the video and not get it on the first try. So there we go. That's how it normally is. It's normally you just pull it out that easy, normally. And then you have this big white weird strip. I don't know what that is, but you do not want it in your chicken. All right, so I've already done that to all the rest of the chicken. You just wash my hands real quick before I touch the chicken. You don't want raw chicken juice on everything in my kitchen. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to throw in are the mushrooms, and I'm making them basically the same way I make them if I would be sautéing them. To go with steak, we really like a side of mushrooms with steak. So just got the butter and the olive oil melting, and a teaspoon of garlic. Put that in, and then we're gonna stir that around a little bit. Butter's melted, so that's good. Then we're going to throw our mushrooms in, and the way I like to do them is I like them kind of quartered like this, so they're kind of a chunk, not really sliced thin, so when you do, they shrink down to almost nothing, so when you do bite into them, they have a little bit of meatiness to them because you didn't slice them thin, so the chunks are the way we like to do it. And basically, you just put that in the pan with the butter and the garlic and the olive oil. And I salt and pepper these pretty good. So we're going to cook these mushrooms for a little bit, and then we're going to come back and add the rest of our veggies. And our veggies today that I happen to have in the fridge are zucchini, carrots, and green onions. I've already chopped them up, and that'll be that. So we'll get these mushrooms going, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, we've been cooking these mushrooms for about 3 or 4 minutes. They're getting brown, and these are baby Bella mushrooms, by the way. They are releasing the water now. That, the mushrooms, when they're kind of getting cooked, they start to release that liquid out of the mushroom, and they start to shrink in size. And the butter is really important in the mushrooms for the flavor to come out. So that's why the only thing I add the butter to is when I'm doing the mushrooms. That's why I'm doing them by themselves. We love mushrooms. We start a lot of recipes this way. We make mushroom bisque, and this is how we saute the mushrooms before we make the bisque. And mushroom soup, we make that as well. And this is how we always start our mushrooms, because with the butter, garlic, salt, pepper, it's just perfection. You can't mess with it. So these are going to be cooked down enough now that I can set them, because I only wanted the butter for the mushrooms. Everything else really doesn't require butter. So we're just going to slide these mushrooms over here, and then we're going to add them back later. Get all that good mushroom, garlic, and juice out of there. All right, so we're going to now do our chicken. I'm going to add a little more olive oil. You don't need too much. And I've already rinsed and pulled the little tabs on our little chicken tenders. So they're just going in plain tonight. You can coat them if you want with a little flour, or even cornmeal is kind of good sometimes. But we're just going naked tonight with our chicken. I'll turn that down just a little bit. And then I'm going to salt it. And pepper. I'm going to give my hands a quick wash because I touched that raw chicken. I've already got raw chicken on my salt and pepper shaker. So I'll have to remember to wash that off. All right. And then the next ingredient, we're going to flip these over, and then we're going to use lemon pepper on the other side of the chicken. Give our chicken a little bit of extra zing tonight, since we're just basically doing chicken and veggies. Oh, that looks nice already. All right. A little shake of lemon pepper. We like it, so we're pretty heavy with it. You can kind of see what those look like. Pretty nice. And these little chicken tenders do not take long because they're small and kind of thin. But they really are, I think, the best part of the, if you're having white meat, this is my favorite part. Smelling so good. Wish we had that smell-o-vision. Somebody's got to invent that. We need it. Especially if you like to watch cooking shows like I do, or if you like to do them like I do. It's just, smell-o-vision would be worth a lot. All right, so we're still cooking those. We're going to move them all to the side. They're not quite done yet, but we're going to cook them some more. But it is time to put the rest of our veggies in. So on this side of the pan, I'm going to put a little more olive oil. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the carrots because they take the longest. Whew. A little bit of salt. We'll get those cooking in the olive oil while we cook our chicken. And you can really do this with any veggies you have. Raw broccoli is good, and cauliflower. This is a pretty good, and we're going to add a little spice to it here in a minute. This is a pretty good little easy and really not too difficult meal. And I'm saying not too time-consuming meal that you can whip up pretty quick. And it's actually pretty healthy, so that's a good thing too. When we have a flying carrot, put that right back in. Those going, all right, so we've been cooking those for a little bit. Slide my oil back here. Now we're gonna add the zucchini. And I just slice them up just like little, like I sliced a cucumber, just like this. Throw that in there. And then I like the lemon pepper on the zucchinis. And then the last thing we're going to throw in, let's get this scooting around a little bit. The last thing we're going to throw in is our green peppers. Our green peppers. I'm allergic to those. We would not be putting those in. Green onions. And just throw those in. kind of get an idea. Oh, you can see pretty good on what we've got. Nice color in the pan, and everything's kind of cooking good. And we're gonna just cook this down a little bit more, throw our mushrooms in, but before we do that, we're gonna add some porcini peppers, or peppercini peppers, I think they're called. Just to however much spice you like. You like a bit. So, and throw that in there to your taste. And keeping the mushrooms kind of out of things right now, because I still like it to have its own special mushroom flavor. Oh, this is looking good. Smelling good. Everybody turned over. We are moving along. So we're just going to let this cook for a little bit. Then I'm going to throw in a few of these capers, these kind of like capers, and then toss in the mushrooms, and then I think our little one-pan meal will be good to go. We're going to let this fry down just a little bit, and we'll be right back. Okay, so while the veggies were cooking down, I got most of my kitchen cleaned up, so that worked out good. Just took 4 or 5 minutes to cook these down. So now we're ready to put our capers in, and about 1 heaping tablespoon, or teaspoon, I guess that would be, is all we need. And then we're going to put our mushrooms back in, because it's pretty much done, and now we just want to warm the mushrooms up. Oh, this is looking quite delicious. Oh yeah. And sometimes we throw Kalamata olives in this, but I have them today, but I'm just not in the mood for them today. So we're just going to leave it with the chicken and the veggies and the sauteed mushrooms and the pepperoncinis, and oh, the chicken is starting to fall apart just from me moving it around. So that's a sign it's done. So I think we're going to call it there, and I'm going to plate this up and show you what it looks like. I'm sure it's going to be delicious. It always is. Enjoy.